If you saw the title and you want to dig into this content, but you're realizing that you don't have time to watch the entire video, you are probably the exact person who needs this message more than anybody else. But I get it, right? Your plate is full. You are busy and you don't have a ton of extra time to be developing yourself to be the best leader you can be for your team. But the most important thing that you can do in these situations when you are just bursting full is to take quick and decisive action. Get out of your head, stop thinking about it, and start doing it. So, before we go any further, before I dig into the content, I want you to make a quick decision, even if you're going to hop off right after this. If you want to lead differently, starting today, not starting after Q2, not after performance reviews, not when things start to calm down a little bit, then I want you to go grab the communication translator. It is going to help you shift how you are communicating in real time, like right now. You can lead the culture in the right direction now, not later. You are not going to find a better time to do it. So let's get started. All right, go down and click the link in the show notes so that you can move forward with this today. If you have to hop off after that first minute, I totally get it. But for the rest of us who really want to invest in ourselves and be the leader that our team needs to be, even in the storm, then I want you to listen to this next part. There is a belief that is going around, and it sounds responsible, right? We say things like, once this busy season is over, then I'm going to lead differently. Once I get through this big initiative, then I'm going to slow down a little bit and be more present with my team. Or when things settle, I'll be more strategic. And it sounds wise. It sounds like you're being patient, but it's not. So let me give you an example of how this works. I had been serving as the president of our school's board. We had these monthly meetings, and every month had a clear cadence, right? I have this schedule that went through every single month of the year and told me certain things that we needed to do or accomplish within that month. Now, it allowed us to stay on pace. It allowed us to add things to the agenda to make sure that we were being proactive, that we were leading as a board instead of reacting to what needed to get done and putting out fires. I bet you can relate to that, right? You would love to have something that allows you to be proactive in your leadership of the team, allows you to be proactive in the projects that need to get done, and stop putting out fires on a daily basis. But the problem is that these things come in and hit you from the side. There are things that don't fit into the neat package of 3 little bullet points for every month of the year. And that was the same for us too. It came time to renew our contract with the district. Now, that contract is big, okay? It is complex. It's a contract, and it's time intensive to do the work. But it is so important, right? It is something that is a critical necessity for our school, for our staff, for our students, for everybody involved. And immediately, when we started talking about it in the meeting and how we were going to fit this in when we were already so full, there were all sorts of options that started flying around. So the first one was basically that we could schedule some separate meetings. We could have a small group of the board, form a committee, and they would review that contract privately and then bring it back to the board for approval when it was done. Or option 2, we could review it section by section in our monthly board meetings, carve out some time and just make sure that it was a part of our normal agenda so that everyone was involved. Or the third option that a lot of people found attractive once it was thrown out there was wait until we had more white space, wait until we had more time and things slowed down to decide how we would move forward. We were going to wait to decide how to move forward. And I'm not going to lie, option 3 felt really good in that room. Like I said, everyone was busy. We had events for the school, we had full-time jobs that we were all working on, and we had different budgets and committees and things that we had to accomplish inside of those meetings. Not to mention our family lives, personal lives, and all of the other fires we were trying to put out, right? So waiting felt reasonable. And as leaders, I know that you feel this all the time. You know that that work is worth doing. You know that when you get the employee engagement scores and you're expected to make a change, you know it's important. When you hear things that make you question whether or not the culture is exactly the way you want it to be, you know that it's work that has a purpose, right? And is worthy, it matters, and it would change everything if you focused on that first. But it's so time exhaustive that part of you wants to say, I just don't have capacity. There's no direct ROI link to that, so I can't make time in the schedule for it. And then sometimes, like I had in that meeting, you have people well meaning in the room lobbying for you to just pull back a little bit. It's okay. You don't have to make a change. Now is not the time. You already have so much on your plate. Or we'll just circle back to that. Maybe we'll revisit it next quarter. It is important. We're not losing sight of it, but now just isn't the time. And when they say that, when you hear it, or maybe when you say it out loud, it feels like relief. But here's the thing, there is no such thing as a light season in leadership. There are just different kinds of full. Let me say that again for the people in the back. There is no light season in leadership. There are just different kinds of full. And when a season is full, because you are pushing something meaningful forward, whether that's a contract renewal like we were doing, or maybe it's a new system that you need to get implemented, maybe it's a reorg that you need to prepare people for, or some sort of growth initiative, it doesn't matter. That is not the time to pull back on your leadership skills. That is the time that they matter the most. Now, if we want to think about when something matters most, it is this time of year, right? The warmth this time of year is something that we do not take for granted, especially here in Wisconsin, when winters can range anywhere from 35 degrees outside to negative 50, okay? But think about winter when you're in your home. It isn't going to create any sort of insulation problem. What it's going to do is expose it. When the temperature drops, suddenly you feel every single draft that there is. Every thin wall, every missed seal around a window or a door. The cold didn't actually cause the gap. It made that gap more noticeable. And that is where leaders get stuck, right? Because you are starting this massive initiative. Maybe it's a system rollout, maybe it's a new strategic plan, maybe it is some aggressive growth target. And you know that it is going to stretch your team. You know that you need to have them insulated, right? You need that to be strong. But part of you thinks we just need to survive this. We just need to hunker down, all hands on deck with this specific thing. And then team growth, culture work, all of that can just wait. But the very pressure of that initiative is what exposes where the clarity is weak, where delegation is sloppy, where your communication is reactive, where accountability is fuzzy. And pulling back in that moment, saying, we'll just address it when things calm down, only makes the gaps wider. It only makes those problems in your communication louder. Okay, so back to my board. As the president, I had three options, right? I could start now and take it on with a smaller group. We could take it on with a separate committee and just move fast together. I could include everyone, start now and work section by section through the meetings that we already had scheduled. Or I could wait for a better time. And honestly, those are probably the same options you have in the decisions that you have to make, right? Sometimes you can go fast alone and create clarity and structure for everybody else on your own or with a small group of people. Sometimes you can go further together, build alignment, buy-in, ownership, because you're working with the entire group to find a solution. And unless we're working together, unless we have a coaching relationship or I am consulting in your business, I won't be able to tell you which version is right for you in your specific situation. Both of those can work. Both of them can be strategic, but waiting for more time is because waiting to do things worth doing differently doesn't cover the cracks in your leadership. That waiting is not going to keep that icy air out. It is going to expose it. It's going to have your team feeling the hesitation in your decision making. It's going to have your peers seeing you bend on issues that you used to hold strong to. Meaning your communication is going to have gaps that allows that icy culture in. And over time, that costs you more than the effort of starting ever would. If you recognize that now is the time to invest in yourself, your team, and your business, let's talk about the next level version of you that you could see in just a matter of months. The time is going to pass anyways. And if you feel full now, I think we have figured out by now that you're going to feel full in the next 6 months and the next year. And feeling full is not an excuse to shrink your leadership. It's not an excuse to pull back on your skills. It is a signal to deepen them. Now is the time to invest in yourself, for your team, for the business overall. Don't just nod along, set up some time to talk. Let's look at the work that is in front of you. All of the pressure that you are carrying and have been carrying for probably too long, my friend, and figure out the level of leadership that needs to exist for your work, your initiatives, and your results to feel steady and strong. If that is the level of confidence that you want in yourself as the leader, then I want you to click the link below to set up time. Let me know in the comments what was most beneficial for you out of this video, and I hope to see you in the next.